Our gospel lesson today comes from John chapter 14, verses 15 through 21. Jesus is delivering the farewell discourse to his disciples, to some people who gathered. He's about to go away. And this news is surprising for them, grieving for them. Jesus says, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I will ask," I've changed the words a little bit, "I will ask my mother in heaven, and she will give you another advocate to be with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive because it neither sees her nor knows her. You know her because she abides with you, and she will be in you. I will not leave you orphaned. I am coming to you. In a little while the world will no longer see me, but you will see me because I live. You also will live. On that day you will know that I am in my mother, and you in me, and I in you. They who have my commandments and keep them are those who love me, and those who love me will be loved by my mother, and I will love them and reveal myself to them." Amen. I was at home about 20 years ago. I'd waken up early to drive from Windsor to Greenville, North Carolina to take the GRE. And I had made coffee and gotten dressed and sharpened my pencil and those things. And I was heading out to the car, and my mother trotted down the back steps and followed me out to the car. And she said that she wanted me to remember the day that I was born. She said that when I was brand new in the delivery room, my eyes were very alert. And I looked around the room and tried to focus on everyone in the room to take it all in for the first time. And what she said that she wanted me to remember while I was taking that standardized test is that I was a very, very alert baby. And so I could carry that on. She is the preserver of that memory, and she conferred that very kindly to me before I drove and took that standardized test. In this farewell discourse, Jesus is standing by the car. Maybe he's in the car, but it's a moment of departure, a moment of separation, not being with Jesus for the time being. He's saying goodbye to the disciples, and he's telling them some things that he wants them to take with them. When we say goodbye, we're always trying to leave something or someone in our stead. That is, if it's a good goodbye, if it's a goodbye that tries to leave something. And sometimes we have to leave in a hurry, and we don't leave provisions for the people that we love. Jesus is going to leave the disciples, actually, with very little. Because, after all, they've been living on the road. It's not like they've amassed a fortune, and they're going to be left somewhat homeless, somewhat aimless. And yet he says that if you love me, you will keep these commandments that I've taught you. I can leave you this, and you will have with you another advocate, not me in the body, because he doesn't tell them that he will be resurrected or they can't take that in. But what he is saying is that somehow the Spirit that I carry will always be with you. Hugh Bronfenbrenner, as I said at the beginning, said that every child needs at least one person in their life who is irrationally crazy about them. This person loves us, they care for us, maybe most of all, they show us grace. When we mess up, as we're apt to do over and over again while we're learning the world, learning to navigate it, becoming decent persons ourselves. And along the way, they make sacrifices for us. They step in. when in a way that is giving sometimes too much or seemingly too much. When we think about these people who have done this, some of us are fortunate enough to name our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our mentors. Most of us have been fortunate enough to have this person in our life who, when we failed, remained steadfast, who stood in our place when we were absent or when we were learning. Not everybody has this person, and so we are called by God to be this person. This person who has taught us how to live, who has most of all shown us love and placed love in our heart. Because of who we are and what we are, we take this image with us. We carry our mothers with us everywhere we go. We carry our good parents, our friends, our mentors with us wherever we go. And our acts of kindness are not only our own, they are acts of kindness that are living or still alive from the past, from the ancient past, because this continuation of care has been happening since the dawn of life. I love to watch a nature documentary and see the baby monkey clinging on to their mother, and I think that's kind of how I was. It's kind of how I was, and I've evolved to then allow someone to cling on to me. Sometimes, and sometimes I'm too introverted, right? A pastor that I worked for, Karen, who was like this. At her retirement dinner at Epworth, someone told a story about her. And I'll say first that Karen was a very vigilant person. She just cared. A friend from her former congregation came up during her retirement program and had talked about a time when there was an illness in her family and she had to get out of town really fast. And she drove to the airport to get on the plane. She was all by herself. She was in shock. She was grieving because the person that she was visiting was on the point of death. And then suddenly a voice came in over the intercom, and it was saying her name. And it said, if you would please come to such and such kiosk, Karen Whitaker is there to be with you. And so the person went there, and Karen just said, I couldn't let you leave town without saying a prayer for you. And so they prayed, and she got onto the plane much steadier, more secure, knowing that she wasn't alone, but that there was a person, a community who would be with her through this ordeal. God, ultimately, is the force who irrationally, crazily loves us and teaches us to love others and to teach us to love the world. We carry God's love with us, this being who formed us. And even when we think that no one loves us and that we are utterly alone, still we can lift our eyes to heaven, from whence will come all of our help. One more note about this irrational, crazy, self-sacrificial love. It is our part to reciprocate it. It's our part to reciprocate it, because I think that one of the myths about mothers is that it's their role to give everything and take nothing for themselves. But the people who love us are not giving trees to be stripped down to nothing, to give everything and to have nothing returned. There's something very wrong with that children's story, because it teaches us that there is someone in our life who is purely self-sacrificial, while we do not reciprocate. Rather, these generous, crazy, loving people in our lives, they give so that we can give. They care so that we can learn to care. And we should return to the people who love us their love. We should practice reciprocity. One last story about my mother, which kind of shores this up. And it was a time that I got in trouble when I was a child, because I was running around the house distracted and feeling a little too secure. And I was being very demanding that summer day, and my mother had probably been worn out by all the children in and out of the house. And she, after I made some demanding request, she said, "Well, you must think that I'm your servant." And I said, "Well, maybe I do," because I was a sarcastic, cheeky kid. And she said, "That is enough. That is enough." And I had to go spend some time by myself in the den and think about that. I've never forgotten it, even though I was 6 years old. It is with these acts of care, these acts of teaching, these acts of discipline, I believe, that our mothers teach us to live in reciprocity, carrying reciprocity with the world. The Mother God is within us. It is within you. May they continue to help us to care for the world. And may it be so in the name of the one who was and who is to come. Amen.